So we're going to talk about how to draw cubes in 1 and 2 point perspective. This is 1 point perspective, which means that the face of the cube is a square. There's no distortion there. It's facing us directly, and you can measure your height and width, make sure they're the same. Very simple. Then you want to think about what this angle is at this bottom corner, and I'm going to say it is about, well, let me draw it on here for you so you can see. See that? That is about 65 degrees. Just going to try to copy that angle that we see. And the big idea here is that whatever this angle is, this one has to be slightly less steep, because these two lines have to converge eventually. They might not converge on the drawing surface, but we need to show that we know that we understand that as they go back, they're getting closer and closer together. And this one also has to converge with those other two. So we're going to imagine a point in space where these are all going to meet and make sure they're all converging to that point. The last challenge is to figure out how foreshortened this edge is. And looking at this distance here to here, I would estimate that it is about maybe 1/7 or 1/8 of this overall distance. So I'm going to draw it that short. Don't think about how far it is from this corner to this corner. Just think about this distance compared to this distance. And once we do that, we just come around the corner up here, and that's the outline drawing of the cube. The shadow map is very simple. This goes up a little bit, and this goes about straight back, and this actually forms another orthogonal, this edge of this shadow. And if I want to do a first shading, just to sort of check my work, the only areas I need to shade are this side and the cast shadow. This is not shaded because it's actually in light, not in shadow. This is called a halftone. It might be shaded very, very lightly, but that's not important for this assignment. If I do a little second shading, I'd go vertical here and horizontal here, but again, that's not going to be required. To do the same drawing in 2 point perspective, looks like this. Before I start drawing though, I just want to remind you the big idea of perspective is that when things get a little further away, they get a little smaller in our field of vision. So to check your work on this drawing, what I'm going to do is take a scrap of paper or ruler. I'm going to measure this. This edge is closest to us, and I'm going to make sure it's a little longer than this edge, which is a little further away. And I can do the same thing over here. This is closer, and this one back here is a little smaller because it's further away. And that rule is also going to apply to our 2 point perspective cube. I'm going to draw the first the leading edge first, like that. I'm again going to look at my angles, and I'm going to notice that these are different. This angle here is about 20 or 25 degrees. This angle here is about 40 degrees. So this slopes up a little, and this slopes up a lot more. This line has to converge with this one, again because this is just a little bit closer to us than this one over here. And this side is not foreshortened much because it's not tilting away from us. So this should be almost as long as this. So we end up something like that for the face of it. Here we have obviously some foreshortening, so we're going to ask ourselves, how long is this compared to this? And I'm going to say it's about, this is about half as long as that. So that and about half that far. That's that fractional thinking that we've been talking about all semester. Again, these are going to converge a little bit because this back corner is a little further away from us than the front one. And even these are going to converge a little bit because they're going to share a vanishing point way, way out there somewhere with these other two lines. And these also are going to converge a little bit because this shares a vanishing point with these two. And when in doubt, just tease that down just a little bit. It's better to have it converge a little too much than not enough. So that's the basic structure. Again, I'm going to shadow map the shadow on the ground. And my first shading would look like this. And my second shading would look like this, and horizontally on the ground with a little bit of sharpening right there. Let me show you what I'm hoping not to see on the exam. I hope not to see these diverging. So yeah, these are never going to meet. They are spreading out, and that is not what we want to see. So I'm hoping you can all see the difference. And I hope you can understand why this is just illogical, because remember, it's a cube, so all the edges are the same size. This edge, this corner is closest to us. This is further away, so you don't want to draw this one bigger, okay? And the same thing applies in two-point perspective. If we don't converge these but make them the same size or diverging a little, it's not going to look like it's retreating in space. Another error that people make on this is they tend not to foreshorten this side enough. So you'll notice already this doesn't look like a cube, it kind of looks like a block, and they tend to diverge the top. And this is what a lot of your drawings looked like at the beginning of the semester, and we're trying to move towards something more like this, and like this. Hopefully that helps a little. Practice if you aren't sure you're getting it right, and when you practice, again, use a ruler or a piece of scrap paper. Make sure all the edges that are further away, like this one and this one, are smaller than the edges that are closer, like that one and that one. Thanks a lot, and good luck.